Hey everyone, welcome back to the 5 p.m. podcast. I'm Dan, and as usual, I'm here with Tina, ready to dive into some pretty interesting news.
Hey Dan. Yeah, this one's a doozy. We're talking about Trump's latest move imposing tariffs on, get this, Canada, Mexico, and times China.
I know, right? Canada and Mexico especially. That's like putting tariffs on your next-door neighbors. I mean, these are our allies. We have the USMCA, which was supposed to make trade easier. And now this?
Okay, let's break this down for everyone. So picture this, a 25% tariff on goods coming in from Canada and Mexico, and 10% on goods from China. That's a hefty price hike.
And here's the thing about tariffs. They're basically taxes on imported goods. So when Trump slaps a 25% tariff on something, it means it's going to cost 25% more to bring that thing into the U.S.
Right, so who ends up paying that extra cost? It's not just the companies importing the stuff.
Exactly. That cost gets passed down to us, the consumers. So, say goodbye to cheaper avocados, maybe? I don't know, but prices are going to go up, for sure.
But wait, there's a twist, isn't there? Something about a delay?
Oh yeah, the tariffs on Canada and Mexico got pushed back by a month. So, they were supposed to start today, actually, February 4th, but now they're on hold. China's tariffs, though, those are happening as planned.
So what's the reasoning behind all this? National security? That seems odd.
That's what he's saying. Apparently, it's tied to concerns about illegal immigration and drug trafficking. He's using this act, the IEEPA, International Emergency Economic Powers Act. What a mouthful.
So he's basically saying that importing goods from these countries is a threat to national security? That's a bit of stretch. I mean, I understand border security concerns, but linking it directly to trade with our closest allies?
Yeah, and you know what else is affected? Something called the de minimis entry process. Now that sounds super technical.
Oh, I know this one. It's basically a fast pass for low-value shipments, right? Like if you order something online from another country for under $800, it usually skips a lot of the customs hassle.
You got it. But now, even those small shipments from Canada, Mexico, and China are going to get hit with these tariffs. So think about all those small businesses that rely on importing stuff. It's going to hurt.
And what about the bigger picture? How are these countries reacting to all this?
Well, as you can imagine, not thrilled. I read that China's already planning to retaliate. And Canada and Mexico, they're probably feeling pretty blindsided. I mean, one day you're part of a free trade agreement, the next you're getting hit with these huge tariffs.
It's like inviting your friends over for a barbecue and then charging them for the burgers.
Exactly. And, experts are saying this could seriously mess up supply chains. We're talking about industries that rely on parts and materials from these countries.
So higher prices, disrupted supply chains. What else? Are we looking at job losses too?
That's a real possibility. Some economists are predicting job losses in sectors that depend on imports. It's all connected, Higher costs for businesses can lead to cuts, and that could mean fewer jobs.
And what about the diplomatic side of things? This has to be straining relationships, right?
Oh, for sure. I mean, Canada's Prime Minister's office even put out a statement saying they're deeply concerned and considering appropriate responses. That's diplomat speak for, we're not happy.
I can imagine. It's like we're poking the bear. Or bears, in this case. So what's the long-term play here? Is this just a negotiating tactic? Or does Trump really want these tariffs long-term?
That's the million-dollar question. Some experts think this might be a way to get concessions on other issues, like border security. But others are worried that this could do real damage to international trade relationships, beyond just the economic impact.
It's like we're playing a high-stakes game of chicken with our trade partners. I just hope we don't end up crashing.
Yeah, and it's interesting. I was reading this analysis by Dr. Robert Chen. He's a big-shot trade economist. And he's saying this whole thing represents a major shift in U.S. trade policy. Like using tariffs for non-economic goals is a big deal.
It is a big deal. It sets a precedent, right? Other countries might start doing the same, using trade as a weapon for all sorts of issues.
And we've seen something like this before, right? The U.S.-China trade war a few years back. Remember all that? Increased costs, supply chain problems. It wasn't pretty.
Oh, I remember. My favorite online store had to raise prices on a bunch of stuff. It was a mess. And that was just with China. Now we're adding Canada and Mexico to the mix?
Yeah, it's a lot to take in. And honestly, it makes you wonder about the future of global trade. Are we moving towards a more cooperative system or a more fragmented one, where everyone's just looking out for themselves?
I guess we'll have to wait and see. But one thing's for sure, this is going to have ripple effects across the economy, both here and abroad. We'll keep you updated as things develop, so stay tuned.
Definitely. And hey, if you're a small business owner or just someone who's curious about how this might affect your wallet, let us know your thoughts. We always love hearing from you guys.
That's all for today's episode. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. This is Tina, signing off.
And I'm Dan, reminding you to stay curious. We'll catch you on the next one.